The final Nokia 6 has arrived. We will have a closer look and I have first test results for you, so stay tuned. Remember in the Nokia 6, I've shown you for the first time on the Mobile World Congress end of February in Barcelona, together with the Nokia 3 and 5, but now the final device has arrived and it's definitely worth a second look and first test results for you at the end of this video, like I promised you. Well, Nokia is back. Now it's called HMD Global, the company behind it, but they have the license for the Nokia branded and they are Finnish still, and some Nokia managers that they will do. So it's really, something traditional. And the first one, the Nokia 6, I really love because this one is a aluminum unibody, meaning you have one piece of metal crafted going around completely over the edges here. This looking, I love the design because, for example, see here the antenna stripes, very moderate, but it's looking very modern in my opinion. Or for example, you have this backside here and it's really matte and good grip for your fingers, even if it's a little big one because you have 5.5 inch screen. I'm coming to this a little bit later. So 167 grams, that's something solid you have in your hand. And by the way, when we are at numbers 76 by 154 millimeters, average thickness is 7.6 millimeters. So you really have something in your palm, but I find it better, for example, than all these glass backside things because it's something you use every day. It can drop. So this one will have maybe a smaller damage here, but no glass breakage or something. At least not on the back side and on the sides here. So I prefer the most, and especially because it's just 250 euros, at least in Germany, Europe, including 19% tax. So this is a good price here for a solid phone. And coming to the display, like I told you, it's 5.46 inches, 139 millimeters, 1080 by 1920 pixels, coming to a density of 403 ppi. Okay, that's 14% below the average, right? Because we have so many Quad HD panels, but, or for example, brightness. Let's go like this, because for the video it's better if I'm reducing it a little bit. It's 494 nits, that's 1% above the average, so absolutely okay. Look at these tiny texts here. You can read them clearly. You do not see single pixels, so Full HD is absolutely enough, even on 5.5 inches, and especially for that price. If you want to have more, you have to pay more, but I would say in most cases you really don't need this one. But I find it okay. And last but not least, it's dual domain IPS, so you have a high viewing angle stability and quality of the picture. So display, thumbs up, everything okay. That coming to the cameras. On the front, you have 8 megapixels, video in Full HD. On the back, video Full HD 2, but you have 16 or 15.9 megapixels on the back side. But be aware, you do not have an optical and no electronical image stabilizer. I'll show you here in the camera app, looking like this one. So you see that there is, I tried some shots here. There is, it's really shaky if you do not use a tripod or something. So you do not have the chance here to have activated or deactivated any electronical stabilizer. So my educated guess is that there is none. So you have to be aware of these photos. But you can blend in, for example, compass, level, grid, whatever you want to. And then it's looking like this one here. And you have HDR automatic mode also. So you see your compass, or for example, let's go like this, look on the horizon, the artificial horizon. So if you have, for example, landscape photography, this is very helpful. The more I do not understand why there is no indicator for the autofocus, because let's go like this here, for example, it's pumping a little bit and then it's at some point it finds the sharpness or not. And you have to watch this one, because otherwise, if you press the trigger too early, while it's still finding out where the optimal setting is, you get a non-sharp photo. That's not sharp. So I don't understand why there is no green bullet or whatever thing, something indicating, okay, autofocus is now fixed. Now you can hit the trigger. unfortunately. Then you will find this thing here. You can exchange, for example, this is 2 times and 3 times slow motion, but you have to be aware this one is full HD resolution in video. Here you have to use 720p, and for 3 times slow-mo it's only 480p. So if this is interesting, on the top that's okay here in full HD 2 times and 3 times, so it's higher speed. For whatever reason you might need it, but that's the way now it is. So a very simple user interface here, almost a bit like Apple, so reduced to the max, something like that. So very easy and very everyone will come around with that, I guess. So camera's quality we have to see, like always in the final review, as text on my website mobiwatch.net. So it will take a little bit time because we're at the IFA now at the end of August, so give me some weeks please for that. It's a little bit lot to do at the moment. Thanks for your patience. Next is the memory. Let me show first of all that you have here. Okay, that's the single SIM version, but nevertheless you can imagine this one. You have for the same price, by the way, the dual SIM versions, meaning you have the first SIM, nano SIM here, and then you have the choice if you use the micro SD up to 128 gigabyte officially, or a second nano SIM. So, and especially the software will support it. So as you know, some Huawei's, for example, here in our countries have that slot, yes, but you cannot use, or if you insert it, the second nano SIM is not accepted, or there's no software for it. Unfortunately, it is. Yeah, well, internal memory 32 gigabyte, leaving a net of 20.7, because you do not have any crapware or something. All these other here are benchmarks I have installed, so no pizza delivering service or whatever you might search for is not present. So it's a really clean system. It's a native Android, like you have already seen, I guess. It's Android 7.1.1. So we have, for example, all these pop-ups here, these features you know from 7.1.1. The thing is, I missed, for example, here on some of the Nokia apps. So here on the contacts we have a little bit, and texting, yeah, but here it's nothing, and especially camera would be good to have a pop-up with go to selfies or go to video mode or whatever. So there is a lot of things Nokia still has to do. Or for example, take here on the top the battery status. There is no chance, let me show you here in the settings, where do we have the battery? Here it's shown, all right, but I don't want to have already opened this one 100 times a day, and there's no option to have that here as a number. It's a little bit hard for me, I find, just to look at the icon and know, okay, it's 86% now only, so I would prefer to have here. So it's still some learnings to do for Nokia, so it's a first one after the comeback. Yeah, that's this one. We have 4G up to 150 megabits per second, Wi-Fi N 5 gigahertz band, but no Wi-Fi SE, and Bluetooth 4.1 only, not 4.2. I at least expected, not 5.0. That's coming on the top class now, but 4.2 I would have expected, because from 4.1 to 4.2 you have some optimizations, especially in the low energy mode setting. So if you want to have a fitness band or something used with the Nokia 6, be aware that it's really compatible, even if it's just Bluetooth 4.1, and you might expect some higher, potentially at least, some a little bit higher energy consumption, because it's not 4.2 but just 4.1. On the other hand, at least Germany, Europe once more, it's a SAR value of just 0.49 watts per kilogram on the head. That's kind of low. At least here we have up to 2 watts, and everything below 1 watt seems okay. And 0.49, it's absolutely very low one. So this is thumbs up once more. One thing you also should know is, for example, here on the bottom, that this is just micro USB, so not the newer USB-C, where you can plug in the cables both sides. It's way easier. So you have the old Nokia standard kind of. But on the other hand, if you have some Nokia, or from other manufacturers, of course, some chargers or something, you still can use without any adapter. So you can see the glass is half full, half empty, like you want to know it. So this is is kind of very, yeah, very Nokia style, let me call it like that. But you should know. Then coming to the processor, it's a Snapdragon 430, meaning you have 8 cores, but only 1.1 and 1.4 gigahertz clock rate. Adreno 505, the graphics module, and at least 3 GB of RAM for this price. Absolutely okay. It's very. I would have expected 2, and it would be okay too, but 3 is okay. But with that, it's coming in the overall ranking of my processor tests, 43% below the average. So that's kind of like a Moto G5, G4, G4 Plus. On the other hand, you see it's really smooth. Or let's open some apps here, for example. Okay, for the first one, he has to look for some data. It's really quickly, no problem for most users, I would say at all. Even if you use, you know, I'm always testing that trigger too because it's graphically advanced, and there we have an average of 39 frames per second of 60 possible. So it's not a top ranking, but for example, some, let's say, Honor 8 Pro, way more expensive, just also have this niveau of frames per second in that trigger too. So it's absolutely okay. You can have more, but you have to pay more, I'd say. So for most of you, I would say, even if it's sounding a little bit bad, 43% below the average will be okay if you do not really need most horsepower below the hood, if you really need it. But for most cases, I would say it's absolutely okay. Then one more thing from the software I've detected here somewhere because where has it been here? Support. That's what I wanted to show, because it's native Android, no add-ons like no Moto app or something. The only add-on I have found is this app here, and it's just for having you to the user guide, or you chat with the support, or links to warranty status, frequency and questions, and ask questions and community. It's no big deal, but especially for if you have first-time Android or whatever, or not so familiar with the system or with mobile phones at all. So if you are really one of the first time you use something like that, may be help. It's a good idea. Nevertheless, it doesn't hurt. So that's what I wanted to say for the additional features there. Okay, let me show in the settings. There is a little bit here. So gestures is the one, so jump to the camera, okay, or for example these two here. So if you want to mute your if it's ringing, you pick it up and it will mute if you want to, or if you turn it over, then have rejected a call, some things like this, no big deal. And no tap to wake or something, because this one here, because you have the fingerprint sensor here. So you do not need this, absolutely okay, but no big deal. Everything kind of native Android 7.1.1. Last but not least, coming to the battery. Of course, it's fixed, it's built in, you cannot remove it by yourself. Aluminum unibody, and it's 3000 milliamps. You do not have any wireless charging also, and with that it's coming in the runtime test to 465 minutes. That's 13% below the average. That's not a really nice result, but on the other hand, if you're just a moderate user, you will come through the day. But on the other hand, if you have a busy day, then you might get in trouble at the late evening, for example. So, and especially if you're a heavy user, you will have to recharge during the day, that's for sure. So I would say it's a little bit weak at that for 250, because if it's 99 euro and you would say it's really an entry tire, then it's okay, because you have the target group not using your phone too much. But in that case, it's a little bit tricky. It's just on the edge if it's okay for you or not. But that's why I have my lists on mobiwatch.net on my website, where you can compare your current mobile phone as long as I've tested it. The rest you will find on the final review, like I told you, as text on my website. This is enough for a second view. I hope I could help you a little bit with the Nokia 6. Thanks for watching, and please be so kind to rate this video, or you even leave a sub, and especially your opinion in the comments. Thanks for that in advance. Take care and bye.